Assalamu alaikum again. So before I begin, the attendance register, every year the Anjuman has an attendance register going around for us to keep in contact with you. That will be passing around. So when you see the little booklet in front of you, you can sign your name and your contact information. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness Muhammad, one whom peace is the last and final messenger, and I begin in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Brothers and sisters all in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like to welcome each and every one of you today to the second session of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman Isha'at Islam Incorporated, second session of our Jalsa. And this morning we had a very fruitful session. Welcome to you all. For those of you who are present and who came in after, welcome. We did indeed have a lovely lunch. Thanks to everyone who would have contributed to make that a success. Now, to begin this evening's proceedings, we traditionally start with the Song of Islam. But before I introduce this person, I would just like to say, we have grown accustomed to hearing her lovely voice. And only today she showed up, willing and ready to sing the song because she was not well and still isn't feeling very well. Without further ado, so that means that we'll have to start training somebody to sing that song, all right? So without further ado, I would like to introduce Sister Sharifa Ramlal to render that song of Ahmadiyya to us.
My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum. Salli ala Muhammad, kya shani Ahmadi hai, dono jahan mein jari, faizani Ahmadi hai, faizani Ahmadi hai. महमूद नूर हक से हर आने अहमदी है, उस नूर से मुनावर दामाने अहमदी है, दामाने अहमदी है। सल्ली अला मुहम्मद, क्या शानी अहमदी है, दोनों जहां में जारी, फैजानी अहमदी है। नूरे मोहम्मदी की आदि कला करिश में मिसली वर्ष करनी, हर जाने अहमदी है, हर जाने अहमदी है। सल्ली अला मुहम्मद, क्या शान अहमदी है। मिर्ज़ा गुलाम हमार ले रे बहे मुजद्दिर, जो हुक्म आपका है फरमाने अहमदी है फरमाने अहमदी है सल्ली अला मोहम्मद क्या शान अहमदी है तसलीस की चमन को देखो खजा है आई फूलों पला जहाँ में रिज़वान अहमदी है रिज़वान अहमदी है सल्ली अला मोहम्मद क्या शान अहमदी है दोनों जहाँ में जारी फैज़ान अहमदी है फैज़ान अहमदी है आमीन थैंक यू वेरी मच क्या हो
Thank you very much, sister. No way, that voice in no way indicated that he wasn't feeling well. Still as strong as and vibrant as ever. Every year, the Ahmadiyya Anjuman honors two long-standing members of our association. And this year, we would like to honor two sisters from the Gasparilla Jamaat, Sister Kadira Ali and Sister Farida Ali. They are unfortunately, only one of them could have made it today because the other is not feeling well. And we did discuss that this morning, the very aging population and ailing population of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman. So welcome, and to read their profiles, I would like to invite three of their grand-nephews to the microphone. Is it three? Two of their grand-nephews to the microphone.
Assalamu alaikum. Jesse. I am grandson of King Ali, brother of Farida and Kadra. Growing up, I would hear stories of the services and work in the communities and Jamaats done by my great aunts Farida and Kadra Ali. They started their teaching career in the very early in life, and I'm pretty sure they have, though they taught the whole gospel as everyone seems to know them. back home. So much so they're known as Big Miss and Small Miss. I have even seen for myself that even everywhere in Trinidad we go, most people recognize them, also dedicating their years to services of the Lady Who Joy Home. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. On behalf of the Ali family, we would like to thank the Anjaman Jamaat for honoring and recognizing my family, Farida and Kadra Ali. And I can't close without giving recognition to my grandfather and great-grandfather, King Ali and Rex Ali, who spent most of their lives supporting the Jamaat. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would now like to invite Naila Mohammed, Executive Member, to pin on Mr. Farida. I would like to invite you forward to collect the pin of Ahmadiyya. Hilali Ahmadiyya. Thank you very much, Naila. Thank you very much, Sister Farida. At this point, I know it's difficult for the family to respond, but Maulana would like to come and make a reply on behalf of the family.
My dear sisters and brothers, all assalamu alaikum. I've been told that Farida and Qadra is not here, Qadra, are very shy and would not be able to come and stand here. I don't know them as shy people because they're always talking and always talkative in so many ways and carrying on such, joyful conversations. I've been associated with these two sisters since my childhood, since primary school days. I remember them. And it's a long association I've had with them first, and then later on with their father, Rex, who was a very staunch Ahmadi. I recall he told me once he went with the Tablighi Jamaat to Holland, and he left them and he said, I have to visit my Ahmadi brothers, and he went to visit all those whom he knew because he had been to conventions in Suriname and he knew quite a lot of them from Holland. So that was the kind of dedication. He'd never forgot this Anjuman. And his son King continued that in that as well. And Qadra and Farida have been very generous in the Jamaat, and this to me is a very special occasion because I think it's this long awaited that they should have been given some kind of recognition. I don't know, perhaps the Gasparilla Jamaat has already done so, but internationally at least, the Ahmadiyya Anjuman is a national organization, and I feel this has been long awaited, and I'm happy that they are alive to be able to receive this award and this recognition. And you should know that these are two people who, as was pointed out, they give service to the community. Just at the back of their shop, I know them and conducting a kindergarten school and for years. And then when they retired, they went to assist in the Ho Choi home and used to assist. My sister Zine used to go there too, and she knew them quite well. They would work together. So, people of different walks of life would offer their services, but they never failed in their duty and their responsibility to the community in which they live. And as their two grandnephews pointed out, so many people knew them because of their kindness, their goodness, and most important because they were always walking on the road in Gasparillo, so much so that one of the sisters was injured in an accident, fell down and injured herself, and that's why she's unable to. That has been a long time, but still, she's still suffering from it. So, on their behalf, I want to thank the Anjuman. On my behalf, I want to thank them for coming. She almost didn't make it today, but Alhamdulillah, I prayed and asked Allah that at least she should be here. And I'm so happy these two boys are here because in visiting her and telling them about the award that we're going to give, I had a chat with these two young boys. And I realized they are very devoted to their aunts, their great aunt. They love her, and they made a special effort to come here and bring her. So I want to thank them and thank her niece, their mother, who is looking after them and who is caring for them as well. That family is young people. It's good to see that you're looking after the elders because these are two girls that have never been married, but they are deserving of the kind of care and attention and award and recognition that we are giving them today and that you have given them, the love and affection you have given them throughout the years. I hope that Allah may grant them long life and bless you as well. So on their behalf, I want to thank the Ahmadiyya Anjuman for this recognition, and I hope and pray that they will continue to do good work in the cause of Islam, and maybe they'll encourage the younger ones as well to step forward and follow in their footsteps. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maulana. At this point in time, I'd like to acknowledge a very long-standing person of the Anjuman who's with us and sharing today with us, and that is Mrs. Zarina Mohammed. She has been a member of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman since the inception. She also served as secretary and for a while vice president of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman. And I would like to invite her to say a few words.
Oh dear me. Spiritual leader of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman, Trinidad and Tobago, Kamal Haidar, all executive members, and everyone sitting here, Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullah. It warms my heart really to stand here and see all of you because it's strange that I am here, you know. And I'm going, as I was telling my nephew as we were coming up, the last month in the year, 23, as the weekend was coming up, well, that is me now. What do I do but reminisce, eh? Reminisce and then meet new people. It is really reminisce. Last month, you know, I said, you know, you always had a big thing coming up. That was the Jalsa we used to have that weekend. And I said, oh my goodness, Christmas is going to be, I wonder how they're doing and so on. So I wonder when they're having their Jalsa, I wonder if I will be able to go. And you tell you, Allah, and I tell you, to me, it's great. In a few days, I had an invitation from Sister, what again? Nafisa, asking me to come. And I said, do you think I should come? Do you think I could come? She said, of course, I'm inviting you, you can come. And she sent me an invitation. But I wasn't too sure that I really should come. Then, I met Iqbal, and Iqbal said, when I told him, he said, yes, I should come. Sisters and brothers, it's true I lost touch with the Anjuman, but not so long ago, I wasn't seeing anybody. And the person who crossed my way was Arif. Excuse me if I don't remember the names, was Arif. And Arif was doing Jummah khutbahs, and I was so pleased. I had heard him a few times, and he invited me to go with him one day to New Grant. No, not New Grant, Irie Village. And I was so pleased to see this young man standing up there, remember? And well, not seeing, but hearing. Then I lost touch with Arif. We were friends, and I lost touch with Arif. After, many years after that, Iqbal came into after-say life, demanding that I should publish a little book I had done for my own self and my own friends. And I tell you, if it were not for himself and I, it would not have done. But thank Allah, it was done. And I'm just hearing from Zaki from Gastrio how she enjoyed reading it, etc., etc. But I feel very full being here and able to meet so many. I haven't met everybody as yet. But you know what delighted me so much too? As the car stopped and I was coming on, who was there to greet me but Dr. Hamza Rafiq? So everybody was so gracious and so on. I am very happy to be here, and that's all I'll say. Yeah, I need a hand this side.
How old she is, Ira? 90? Thank you very much, Auntie. And 94 years of age, so that's really great. If you give her a round of applause for that. It's so very nice as a young person to see these long-lasting members of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman. I'm a new member, so I don't even know her. So that is very, really, really, really nice to meet you, Auntie. Oh, and okay, and one of our honoree, Auntie Farida, is also 93 years of age. Very good. So we have some 83. Okay, all right. I'm being correct. 83. Very good. So 83. So we do have some really long-standing members, and they are still here and willing to serve the Ahmadiyya Anjuman. As we move on in today's function, we have, normally the evening session is a session that we have a discussion on issues that are facing everyday issues, life today. And one of the issues that we are facing today is artificial intelligence, right? It's something that is prevalent. It's not really an issue. It's something that is very prevalent. It's in technology. And before I introduce the person to do our feature address, we have a small presentation by some youths, and they would be doing a very brief introduction into this topic. And some of them could not be here today, and because of school reasons and commitments, and some of them are here today. So it's a video presentation, so I will now invite you all to look at the screen as we look at this presentation from our youths.
We are the youth of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman. Today, we are exploring a topic that intersects technology and our faith. The pros and cons of artificial intelligence in Islamic propagation.
As youths in our beloved organization, we recognize the significance of using technology for the betterment of our community and spreading the true message of Islam.
In recent years, artificial intelligence, AI, has emerged as a transformative force
introductions, it is important to look at both the blessings and challenges it presents in spreading the pure teachings of Islam.
Introduction to AI.
Before we explore the pros and cons, let us break it down.
What is artificial intelligence?
Well, it's like having a smart friend in the digital world.
AI refers to computer systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence.
such as visual perception,
Speech recognition.
Decision making and language translation.
In recent times, AI has become a game changer, shaping how we communicate, learn, and share information.
Now, let's see how it fits into our mission of Islam propagation.
Pros of AI in Islamic propagation.
first up, the pros.
Imagine AI as a bridge, connecting us to brothers and sisters worldwide. Through online platforms, we can reach Muslims and non-Muslims globally.
AI brings people together, fostering understanding and unity.
Next up, skill learning. AI understands how each of us learn best. It's a proper personal teacher right off the meetings.
And of course, translation assistance.
AI breaks language barriers, helping us share the beauty of Islam with everyone, no matter where they are or what language they speak.
Last on the list, efficient resource management. With AI handling routine tasks, you can focus more on spreading the peaceful message of Islam.
Now let's look at the cons of AI in Islamic propagation. Let's talk about those cons.
While AI is fantastic, we need to be cautious.
Authenticity is a big concern. AI might not understand the deep meanings of our faith. We must ensure the message remains pure and true.
Lack of personal touch is another challenge. AI can't replace the warmth of personal interactions. That's why lose that special connection within our community.
Ethical practices are important. We must use AI responsibly in line with our Islamic values. Privacy and responsible tech use are our responsibilities. Lastly, the digital divide. Technology might not always be accessible to everyone equally, so let's ensure inclusivity in our digital efforts.
In conclusion, the use of AI in Islamic propagation brings both blessings and challenges. As Muslims embracing modern technology, we should always remain safeguarding the core principles of our faith. Let's use these technological tools wisely, amplifying the message of love, peace, and unity. Together we can make a positive impact in the digital world.
Thank you for joining us.
Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much to those youths. And I had a little introduction for artificial intelligence, and I think they summed it up, right? They did a wonderful job. But I'll still touch on some points before I introduce our feature address. So basically, and they would have mentioned everything, artificial intelligence is basically a machine's ability to perform the cognitive functions we associate with the human mind. Some of the ways in which artificial intelligence has been used thus far: drugs and treatments to diagnose diseases, provide personalized care, to detect fraud, manage risk, provide investment advice, for robots, self-driving cars, which we have now, smart assistants, which we have now, and social media monitoring. So with that, I would like to introduce the person to do our feature address. No stranger to us, the religious head of the Ahmadiyya Isha'at Islam, Maulana M.K. Haidal, who will talk about the pros and cons of artificial intelligence. At the end of his presentation, will have a question and answer session. So whatever questions that may arise while he delivers his discourse, you all can write it down and ask after.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. I bear witness that there is one God. Without Allah there is no God, and I bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the final messenger of Allah, after whom no prophet, old or no new, will come. And I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. My dear sisters and brothers, all assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was very pleased when I suggested this topic to the executive of the Anjuman as a theme for today's Jalsa, that they accepted it. Because few people, especially the elder ones, know of artificial intelligence, also known as AI. But it has been sweeping the world for some time now, but rapidly increasing in its influence and discussion within recent time, especially within recent months. And there have been pros and cons. In fact, some of the cons that is against artificial intelligence have been coming from people who are involved in artificial intelligence and were expressing views that it's in fact a dangerous approach. And I felt that having using artificial intelligence almost on a daily basis, that is not so, that is not true. You would not have realized it, but that presentation that was done by the youths just a while ago was done by artificial intelligence. The script was written by artificial intelligence, and they recorded what was written by the computer. Some of you may realize that the Freeport Ahmadiyya Jamaat is having its Chinese queue as a fundraising event to do some repairs to our mosque, some refurbishment of the washroom area and kitchen area, and upstairs as well, the parade area. And we have prepared donation letters for our members to approach businesses and other individuals for donation. That letter was also prepared by artificial intelligence and then edited. So there's a lot of usages that can be there, but we have to educate our people. What is important is that today's function is not really a full discussion of the use and the misuse of AI. It is an introduction to the topic, and we hope that our young people will follow through, and some of the older ones will also get involved. Now, my approach to this topic here today is that first of all, I will introduce what is AI and its brief history. A little different from what the youth presented, because they presented what the computer had told them that it should present. Then I will deal with the issue of the Quran and how the Quran approaches artificial intelligence and the interpretation of the Quran and the application in the Muslim world of artificial intelligence, especially misuse of it. I will also deal with the pros of using AI and give some examples. I will need your support and your cooperation when I reach that point, and similarly in the case of the cons when using AI, and then I will just summarize. So my presentation should not be that very long, but it will be one I hope will be fruitful, and maybe some of the younger ones may still have questions that they would like to ask. Now, sorry, my. Just give me a minute, please. See. Anyway, I'm going to present the view. I'm on slideshows, present the view, but I probably don't have this. I mean, keyboard, I probably extended. Stay away. Extended. Is it on it?
This extended.
Let's present this.
Use present. Yes, what's up? Go on outside. This is on the.
I'll try to set it up.
That's good. Screen slideshow. And yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Sorry for that. All right, let's continue as to where. Yes, I was pointing out that the approach I will be taking is that to introduce AI and give a brief history of it and deal with some Quranic verses and the interpretation, the pros of using AI with some examples, and the cons when using AI. Now, first of all, what is artificial intelligence? The youths have already pointed out it is computer systems that perform tasks which normally require human intelligence. That is something that we know has been going on for a long time. You want to add 2 and 2, you will do it pencil and paper, and then later on, well, you do it in your brains, but then we have calculators now. And some people have to depend upon a calculator to just add a few figures and numbers. Older ones may not need that, but that in a sense is artificial intelligence because it is performing tasks which normally require human intelligence, but you are dependent upon a machine. You're dependent upon something which is not human. That is important, and I want to emphasize this point, that when you rely on non-human approaches to solving a problem, that is what artificial intelligence is, and it can be useful as well as it can be damaging. And the artificial intelligence deals with reasoning. Now, you may be surprised, can a computer reason? Can it make choices and decisions? Can it solve problems? Well, we know it can in fact do all of these. It can give you reasons for doing things, and particularly artificial intelligence in the modern world today will give you reasons, they give you references and so on, why a particular approach is more valid or more suitable than another one. Artificial intelligence is really a very broad term, and it refers, in the modern world, it refers to what is called machine learning, that machines are trained to deal with topics, text, videos, pictures, voice, so many things, as some has been already mentioned by some of the youths, deep learning and natural language processing, even translation from one language to another. I can give my entire speech and artificial intelligence can translate it into Arabic and Urdu or so many other languages, and vice versa. If I have a text in Urdu, I can just put it on the computer and it will give me a translation. So this is quite useful for us, especially if we want to propagate Islam in other countries. Let's say the whole of South America, you have Portuguese, you have Spanish, and you have other languages and so on. And if we have all our literature in one language, we'll be able to translate it to another language. We have all the literature of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad in Urdu and Arabic and to some extent Persian, and that can easily be translated by computers because this is about 80 books, huge ones, a lot of writing, a lot of information, And for people to go through all of that and translate it, it will take quite a long time. I may point out to you that one of our members of the Anjuman, I think he's in India, maybe in Kashmir, is working on a program, it's called Ahmadiyya, where you'd be able to do search in Urdu and in Arabic and have it translated and explained as well. So we do have in the Anjuman people who are working with artificial intelligence. But artificial intelligence, I may point out to you, is basically what we call a search engine. Many of you know that you can want to find something, you go into what most people use, Google. I use another one called DuckDuckGo, and there are other search engines as well. And artificial intelligence really has three parts to it. The first part is what we call the back end, the algorithms, the processes that is used to process the information. The second part is, of course, the data source. And this is why artificial intelligence has become so important today, because for decades now, you find that people have put so much information into data that is available by these huge data banks in different countries, by different companies as Microsoft and Google and so on. So there's a massive amount of information there in English, in Chinese, in Hindi, in all different languages. We probably only search in English, but you do get a massive amount of information. And there are huge areas where you have data banks that has data. And that data now is just there. People put videos, they put songs, they put text, they put books. It's a massive amount. So what artificial intelligence does, it's that data source, and it has an output. It will search that data source. You put some question to it. You request some data, you request something. It will search all of this data sources, massive amount, and do it quickly, because now the computers are becoming faster, and it will pull the information necessary and then produce an output for you. What that output could be depends on what you ask it. You want a speech, you want a text, you want a picture, you want a video, it will do all of this. But it can do more than that. It can even interchange. You can have one picture and then the picture can be changed and you add certain things to it. You can have a picture of the Kaaba and then you say, well, put some people in the Kaaba, and it will do that for you as well. And So that the artificial intelligence really tries to mimic learning from experience, from drawing references, from solving problems and recognizing objects. It can recognize objects. That is what is called, deep learning, and communicating in natural languages. That you can not just put a word, you can put a sentence, you can ask, as we'll see some examples in a little while. So, examples of artificial intelligence has already been seen for years in things like games. There are some applications of artificial intelligence in board games. For example, chess. As you know, many years ago, a couple of decades ago, I remember, in Russia there was a very famous chess player who was playing chess against a computer, an IBM computer. In those days, the computers were not as fast and they were very bulky. But the experiment was done, and in some cases the computer won, some cases the chess master won, one of the best chess masters in the world. I think it happened on 2 or 3 occasions. So it has been there in games, in chess, in mathematics, in robotics, in medicine, in voice recognition and chatbots and so on have been there for a little while now. You have a problem with some part of your computer with a company or so, and they will give you an artificial person who will guide you through, and you can speak with them and communicate with them. Not a real person any longer, but a chatbot. Now, chatbot will answer questions for you and so on. Now, let's talk about a brief history of AI as a search engine. The first search engine on the internet was something that's known as Archie. Many of you may not know that. I had used it. That was decades ago. People don't know that this was the first. It was since 1986 and developed in Montreal, Canada. At that time, there was not much internet. I used to use in those days something that's called bulletin boards because we had no internet. And you can go into a bulletin board and you can download information there, pictures, videos, and so on. It was a very crude system, but I want to point out to you that it is the use of that bulletin board that contributed towards our production of the Dictionary and Concordance of Maulana SM Tufail, and I'll tell you how. When I was with Maulana Tufail in England, once he told me, he said, look, he has a special computer that he bought. It was a IBM electronic typewriter. And he wanted the fonts, the English words, like you have the word jihad, G-I-H-A, and the A had to have a little line on top of it. And he was very meticulous in what he wanted. And he couldn't get that font. So he ordered a special ball in those days. There was a special ball, it was very expensive, that would give him that letter, but he couldn't get all of the letters. So he pointed this out to me that we need to have more letters on that ball. We still have the ball in the library here that he had bought. Unfortunately, we don't have the computer. That's a different story. But I was able to download from the bulletin boards long before the internet the fonts that he wanted. And in some cases, I created certain Arabic fonts in order to produce that dictionary, because sometimes you have alif and you have a madda on top of it, and there was no font for that available at the time. So a lot of work went into producing those fonts to ensure that we had the proper, correct Arabic there, as well as the transliteration. So then later on, you had other search engines. Yahoo was very popular. And then you had one I used to use quite a lot was something called Alta Vista. I think it's still available. It was a very nice search engine. And some of these were special search engines. Some would deal more with business or literature or so on, rather than general as Google will do. Google came much later. So that the use of AI is something that is there from time immemorial. The use of non-humans to communicate has always been there. We know that Egyptians used to use hieroglyphics and cuneiforms and so on. They had to communicate, and they had to have some means of expressing their minds to other people. So they used certain non-human things, writings, or some would use smoke signals the Indians used to use. Some people use a flag in order to show what they wanted, surrender and so on. People will understand when they had this common understanding of a white flag means surrender, or red flag means danger, don't go near the... Then you have the Morse code that was developed. All of these are part of artificial intelligence, because it's a means of communication through non-human means. But when humans function like machines, in a mechanical way, without human reason, that is a misuse of human intelligence. And this is where the Quran deals with that aspect of artificial intelligence. Human beings functioning like machines. They don't think, they don't reason as the computer doesn't really think for you. It has algorithms there, it has certain programs that does the analysis, okay, and that is done, programmed by the person who sets up that particular program. So the Quran deals with the topic of people who have the information but cannot process it. And it deals with this subject in the verse that says, مَثَلَ الَّذِينَ حُمِلُوا التَّوْرَاةَ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا كَمِثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ الْأَسْفَارَ بِئْسَ مِثَالُ الْقَوْمِ الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمِ الْكَافِرِينَ. And I translate this as follows. The similarity with those who carry the Torah but do not follow it is just as a donkey carrying loads of books. How sad is the similarity of persons who abandon the instructions of Allah. Allah does not lead along evil-minded persons. Now, this is a reality, unfortunately, in the Muslim world. And this is why the Mujaddid came. Allah sent a man to correct the situation, to deal with the subject of artificial intelligence among human beings who are functioning even worse than machines, like animals, because the Quran says if you don't use your reason, you're worse than cattle. And Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, as the Mujaddid, came and taught us how to use our reason in understanding the Quran. I want to give you an illustration here of a debate that took almost 5 hours between two persons. You will see the person standing, touching his books. Look at the table, and you will see the enormous amount of books that these two persons had to bring, each one. The one on the left side is a gentleman in the white. He is a debater, and his table, you will see the books almost covering nearly up to his neck. The other one, who is touching the books, he has all his books there. When he sits, you can't even see him. The books are so high, it covers his entire... But this is just a clip from a 5-hour-long video. You will see here the other individual. When he's debating, he has to refer to all of these books. And they are dealing with the topic of is seeking help from the Prophet shirk? And you have 5 hours of two people debating, and the amount of books that they are reading, they couldn't come to a conclusion. In some cases, it even ends up in fights among them. So that among Muslims, you find that there are huge amount of information that is there, but it takes away your reason. I recall some years ago when I was in Lahore with Maulana S.M. Tufail, he wanted to get a series of books. It was a huge, almost 12-volume book of Fatawa Alamgiri, World Fatwas in Urdu. And he bought it. We do have it in our library here. And he taught me that when you look in that, it has fatwas that has been collected over the years and put in this book. So Fatawa Alamgir, World Fatwas. And there were some fatwas, like, for example, a man would divorce his wife on the simple basis of, well, I won't use that one, that example. But a man says his wife was climbing a ladder. And when she reached a certain height, he told her to come down. But then he told her, if you come down, I'll divorce you. And if you go up, I'll divorce you. So she was in a quandary now. And then he realized, well, you know, I made a mistake. So he went to the Maulana and he asked him, he said, look, what I think. I told my wife, if she goes up, I'll divorce her if I come down. He has to stick to his vow. So the man came and Maulana came with him and said, okay, we'll solve this problem. So he said, you hold that end of the ladder, I hold the other end. They put the ladder on the ground and told her to walk sideways. So these fatwas are the ways to solve these problems. A man said to his wife that if you drink the what is in the glass, I'll divorce you, and if you leave it there, I'll divorce you. Empty the glass. And he goes to the Maulana again, they come with a thing, he takes a sponge and he soaks up the water, and he said, well, the glass is empty now, so you are free from that commitment. These kinds of nonsense. I've read some of that, and there are hundreds. I told you there are 12 volumes of this book that has this. So this is how Islam was diverted from the original teachings of the Quran. I want to point out to you here a topic I have been emphasizing day by day, that Islam is divided into two groups called Sunni and Shia. And that division came about because of one hadith. One hadith. The hadith is that the Prophet said, I leave with you two things, the Quran and my Sunnah. So the Sunnis say, well, the Prophet left the Quran and Sunnah, so our religion is based upon Sharia is the Quran and the Hadith, the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. The Shias quote the same Hadith, but they have a different wording. They said the Prophet Muhammad said, I leave for you two things, the Quran and my family, the Ahli Bayt, my family. So they say we follow the Ahli Bayt, that is Ali and Fatima and their children. These are our imams and leaders, and these are the ones that we hold to be the only ones to interpret the Quran. And one hadith, the same hadith, but has two different renderings, and you find the entire Muslim world is divided and with hatred one against the other. Many people do not know that Abu Hanifa, who is the head of, supposed leader of one of the largest sections of the Muslim community, the Sunni community, in his days, he didn't have much hadith. He relied upon 19 hadiths. There was not more than that he knew. He was also a student of Jafar al-Sadiq, who was a Shia. And most of the Sunni imams learned from the Shias and were students of them and found that they were great scholars. So you have great scholars among the Sunnis and among the Shias as well. But later on, these scholars became deified and became fossilized, that whatever they taught and so on, you couldn't change what they did. And this is where the Mujaddid came and pointed out to us that no, we have to use our intelligence. And Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, in his very first book called Barahini Ahmadiyya, he said, we live in an age in which, previously people used to have anything you tell them, they would believe. Anything. They were credulous. They would believe what you tell them. He said, but we live in an age today where people will tell you falsehood, and you will accept it as truth. People will tell you falsehood, and you will accept it as truth. In other words, what we call spin, or what we call sort of fake news is the common term that is used nowadays. And there are other AI terms that use that, that deals with fake and things which are not correct. And here we come, therefore, to the pros of using AI. Technology, especially mobile technology. By mobile technology, I mean almost all of our young people and some of the older ones do have a mobile phone and are using it constantly. And it can be used as a means to solve everyday problems and to oppose extremism in Islam. I met a young girl yesterday who was asking me numerous questions on Islam, and she said, I have so much more questions. I said, well, I don't have time now, but we can communicate through WhatsApp or email or a voice call, and we'll be able to discuss. And she said, sure. So we set up that communication. So a person can acquire Islamic knowledge virtually by attending live classes online and by listening to lectures of intelligent persons while in the comfort of their homes and on their own time. As I pointed out this morning, I am in contact with people from New Zealand, Fiji, Australia, and other parts of the world where they asked me to give my views on certain Quranic concepts, or to conduct a Quranic class when they have their monthly readings and on a certain verse or chapter of the Quran. So that is using also artificial intelligence in the sense that you're utilizing technology, a machine, in order to, a non-human source, to convey to other people as well in a different time zone. And the pros of using AI is that children also can learn religion through Islamic games and other interactive software that motivate them to learn better. Now, in our Anjuman in Toronto, they have sometimes during the year, they will have a trivia day when they'll bring all of the young people together, and they have a Jeopardy type game with a screen, big TV screen, and they're able now to put certain questions and test the young people's response to how many wives did the Prophet Muhammad had, how many times you have to pray for the day, and this is the Jeopardy style trivia, and it assesses their learning and Islamic concepts. The elder people take part in it too and find it very enjoyable. And one of the reasons that we have put this big screen here is that we would like to, some of our young people some years ago had a movie night here, and they come and they enjoy themselves in an environment that we provide to bring them closer to each other. But AI can also be used in the preparation of khutbahs. For example, if I were to ask, I'll show you in a while when I just finish this presentation, because I will have to take off the presentation to show you that. But if I ask AI, one of the most famous one I use is Microsoft Edge has a AI section called Copilot. And if you ask it to prepare khutbah on Sabr, or to translate Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim also, it will do it for you. It will tell you what it is and give you so much information in Islam. But let's continue and we can do that after. But AI can also be used to spread misinformation or propaganda. It can be used to promote extremist or harmful views. It can be used to create what is called deep fakes. I told you about fake news, well, they're also deep fake, which is using the media, and you can take my voice, for example, and you can have Roshni, video doing a Roshni, all her lips are moving, but the voice is myself or any one of you. That can be done. AI will do it and sync the voices. So you find somebody is giving a speech, but the person who is there is not, it's a fake person. So it uses, it replaces one person likeness with that of another. Some time ago, there was a video in which showed in the war in Israel, certain tunnels under Gaza, which were, you saw the Hamas people had all of these. The moment I saw it, I realized that that was, produced by AI, because I'm familiar with it, so I see. What they do is you take a video of a tunnel, just a short piece, and then you can expand that, repeat it, and you can show different places. So you are seeing as if they actually entered the tunnel, and you've seen all of these weapons and whatever it is, which is more propaganda rather than truth. So you have to be aware of these things. Your mind is manipulated without realizing this, and this is spread on all the news media. Well, I saw they stop it recently. Perhaps somebody identified it and they were able to, realize that they have to pull it. So you find that sometimes too, again, people are so exposed. I see it on so many occasions on Facebook, on TikTok and so on, people giving advice on health, on medicine, and it's one-sided. Now, it may work for them, or it may work for in their country, in their particular culture, but it may not work for everybody. So when they give medical advice, it is sometimes one size. In fact, we must realize that one size doesn't fit all. Everything that is stated with regards to certain, my complaint, as you know, recently I was hospitalized for 6 days, and I was told, that certain things are harmful to me. I am banned from eating nuts, as an example. And I like that. Our family is, nuts eaters. My wife has to constantly monitor that and see that I don't eat it. Some doctors say that's not true. And some doctors say, yes, that is, you have to do that. So, again, I don't know what to follow, except I have to follow what my wife says. I can't do otherwise. She hides all the nuts, so I have no choice. So, if you put you ask AI, who wrote Islam Say Nawago? They will tell you, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. It's a sing Islam Say Nawago for you. It's okay, go on YouTube or Spotify, they give you the reference and you pick it up. But it's a Qadiani presentation. We have so many singers on Islam Say Nawago, but we have not put it on the internet, so it cannot pull that information. But if we put our information there, it will pull, so people will hear our voices and our people, but because we have nothing, and the Qadianis put so much there, all of the poems of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, and have people reciting or singing or so, but they don't sing really, but they recite it in a singing way without music, and it will pull that. So people go there and think, well, that's the Ahmadiyya movement, when in fact it was only one side of the movement and the organization. So to summarize, this is just, as I said, an introduction to AI. Future generations will be bombarded with AI until it becomes a standard. And our task is to train our youth to distinguish between right from wrong. As the Quran says, قَدْ تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدُ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. We have to be careful that artificial intelligence cannot replace the human. People are afraid of this, and they think that, computers will think for themselves. All that is, hogwash, as I would say. Many years ago, people used to say, well, when robots came into being, and they started to have robots in producing vehicles and other things as well, they say, well, jobs, people lose their jobs. And they did. Some people did. But they said, human beings now would not be needed in the workplace. And that is not so. A whole new era. Population has grown in the world. Countries in China and so on, they have grown in Japan, and they have developed new technology and new uses of technology. They may not be now just putting a screw on a motor car, They are now working, their children may now be working in using their brains and developing computer programs and so on. So it will just expand the human mind. So artificial intelligence is such that it is important to note that the fear of artificial intelligence, that it will destroy human development, is not true. But we must remember that AI can also have a different meaning. The meaning I want you to remember. AI is Allah's intelligence. And Allah's intelligence is that He gives us through Muhammad, our Prophet, and his Mujaddid, that will enhance human development. So it is by accepting the Prophet Muhammad and his teachings and his approach to Islam and the interpretation given by his Mujaddid, the 14th century Mujaddid, there were others before, that will help us to understand right from wrong. That's what I do. I use the Quran, I read about the Prophet Muhammad, I read the writings of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. I also use AI quite a lot in my research and doing everything. You find that most of the speech here, some of it has been done by AI, some I have done myself. So it is important for us to understand this topic and realize that, Allah has given us an opportunity because we have a responsibility. Our responsibility is to carry the message of Islam, of peace, not hostility, to the world. We need our young people. We need you. You may think you're not fit. I don't know Arabic, I don't know Urdu, I can't do this, I can't do that. And people think that the young people are only there to come in the mosque and read namaz and attend Jummah and so on. No, you have an important role to play. You have skills, you have talent, you have intelligence, and you have the tools now of technology and AI to be able to prepare you for, doing Islamic propagation work. This morning we discussed, for example, the call. I was editor for 26 years. I've become, involved in so many other activities now. The problem is we need people who could write. We need young people to become on. The old people cannot continue with this. And we have new topics to deal with. And some of them have to do research. You can't have classes all the time now. It's so difficult to have classes because of time, because of roads, because of danger, crime, and all of these things. And sometimes virtually even people find difficulty in really finding the time to attend classes. But you can on your own use AI to do research. But we as an Anjuman has to put our information on the data source that is there. And that's why we are digitizing our books. We want to put that information there, so when people pull it, when AI pulls from that, they will be able to pull the information that we know is correct Islam for the propagation of Islam. So my dear sisters and brothers, I want to thank you for your patience, for listening to me. Perhaps I'll give some chance for questions, but then I can show you, if you so desire, how AI can be used to produce khutbahs or to do some translation, as the case may be. So thank you very much.
You want me to do it? You want to do it here or you want me to do it?
No, you could do it. Yeah.
So you...
You type it.
Are there any questions for the time being?
Can I?
Sure.
First of all, I want to say that it was an excellent presentation, and I want to admit that I know nothing about artificial intelligence. But I want to ask the Maulana a question, and I want to know if I got the interpretation right. And that is that I got the interpretation that artificial intelligence does not create any new information. It just pulls from information that is already there and package it in a way that you want it packaged. Is that so?
Yes, that is so. It cannot. There are some developments and research that has been done to make what is called computers think for themselves, because they can predict computers are capable of predicting, but you do that on a very common basis. Auditors know that you're and persons who are doing what is called the field in which they hire an auditors. I think what is they called? Anyway, actuaries. Yes, actuaries can take information and predict what will happen. Like, for example, national insurance. You have a certain thing, the population will grow, and if you keep on paying national insurance now, people get older, you run out of money. So at a certain point in time, you would realize that you'll have to increase in order to more people will be able to benefit and so on. So you can do certain predictions. So artificial intelligence, in that sense, can produce new information. But remember, this is a broad field. Artificial intelligence cannot motivate people to be better, to make a person love another person, to make another person hate another person or so. It cannot really do that unless, of course, it is misused. The person has to misuse it. So if I see information about killing and so on, and I am of that ilk, I am of that feeling, then I will follow what is said to me. But if I know that is something which is wrong, because I'm influenced by another aspect of artificial intelligence, then I can, offset that. So research is being done to do what is called, predictive outcomes, and that's, I think, the greatest fear that people have. But it really cannot do so, because remember, science is not in control of the earth. Allah is. And there will always be people who will be able to point out the errors and mistakes that the world is making. And I'll give you an example from the Quran. The Quran tells us that, I'll just summarize what it says. Allah says that between the dung and the blood of the cow, of the cattle, we give you milk. And you take fruits and grapes and so on, and you make intoxicants and goodly provisions as well. Now, what the Quran is saying here, look, two things, dung and blood, and you get milk which is nutritious. Now, how Allah can take even things that are like that and give something. But when human beings, you do, the next verse of the Quran says, you take fruits and so on, and you make intoxicants. So human beings are using the gifts of Allah in a way in which it is damaging to themselves, but they are also goodly provisions. Yes, they are using it for health and for so many ways, so that intelligence is being used for good as well as bad. And this is where it is so important to understand the message of the Quran, because the emphasis in the Quran is human personality development, and the key to human personality development is choice. La ikraha fi din, there's no compulsion in religion. So we have to be able to make choices. When we give up that right of choosing, and we allow people to think for us and people to choose for us, they tell us what we have to believe, and they tell us, a young man was telling me yesterday, he said, my boss called me and he told me, he said, look, you go to the Fireball Mosque, Malaydal's Imam there, there's an Ahmadiyya Mosque. You should change your mosque. You might lose your job. I don't know where he get this authority in Islam. First of all, the person is appointed, by a government position. It's not he has no point of. He's really discriminated. You can't discriminate against people like that. But that is what is happening in society. People are using their own, misusing their thinking, or thinking. And the person was telling me, he said, I don't think my boss is the one who is somebody else is influencing him and making him think like that. So our young people as Ahmadis face challenges too, even in the workplace, where people don't like them because they are Ahmadis. We find that we've been killed in different parts of the world. So it's a big challenge, and we have to be able to understand how to distinguish between right from wrong.
Assalamu alaikum. Like Hamza, I know nothing about artificial intelligence. And that's one of the reasons why I made it a point to come here today. I asked my granddaughter, say, Paige, what is artificial intelligence? Because I feel as a senior citizen I should make myself acquainted with what the young people are doing and what they're thinking if I want to remain pertinent. She said, Papa, if I told you what it is, you wouldn't like it, you'll get scared. I said, what? She said, you know, I could write an essay for you. That's all she told me. That got me more scared. I said, I have to find this out. So I came here today and I listened to Maulana. So I am very, very educated. I can't say I know much from his speech alone. But two things come to my mind as I sat there listening. One, from the little I heard today, I think the word artificial should not have been used with whoever came up with the idea of artificial. That's only my view. Because I thought it was artificial. Artificial means non-human to me. So when you're talking artificial intelligence, it doesn't come from here, it comes from the artifice. Who creates the artificial? So I am thinking, and then I'm beginning to learn that it isn't really artificial intelligence. It is our interpretation of what we read, which we've been doing for years, as the Maulana said. But it's only now, I think the word artificial to me is confusing, but not the intelligence part. And the second thing is that, as I sat there, in the Ayatul Kursi it says, who is he that can intercede except by his permission? He knows what is before them and what is behind, and they cannot understand anything of his knowledge unless he pleases. And I told myself a couple months ago, you know, the cell phone that every one of us, I'm sure, has. 30 years ago, I don't think any of us here had one. When Allah is ready, He will let us know what we need to know. Artificial intelligence. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Faiz. I agree with you, really. It's a misnomer, but it has been deliberately chosen to influence people that, look, artificial world is going to take over the real world. You are going to be just subhumans, and the machines will be there. So that kind of psyche is being poured down on people, and you're quite right. We have to look at it from a different perspective, and it is really non-human intelligence that has been put artificially to us by means of these massive databases and using algorithms. So let me give an example of, I had mentioned in my talk, I would like, we can ask, using Copilot, are we using? Yeah. Write a khutbah for me, a Jummah khutbah on Sabr, S-A-B-R. Write a Jummah, J-U-M-U, apostrophe A, khutbah, K-H-U-T-B-A, on Sabr, S-A-B-R. It takes some time to generate because it is pulling the information from different sources. But there are some computers will be faster than, in fact, the new computers that are going to come out now will be extremely fast, and there's a special button you can press, which is the AI button on the Windows computers. You can see I'm sure. I would read it because you can look at it. It's still being written. No, it's stopped. Jummah khutbah is a sermon delivered on Fridays and so on. Sabr is an Arabic word that means patience. And then it gives all praise be to Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is His servant. Same thing that we do, they're giving you in English. Oh, you believe here Allah should be, verses are given reference, oh Muslim, Sabr is a quality that Allah loves. Somebody must have written this and they've just changed it up and put it together. But you can get a whole khutbah on Sabr. You can get a whole khutbah on jihad. You can get, so many. So even young people, sometimes you want to do a khutbah. You say, well, I don't know what to talk about. You have AI that can produce a khutbah for you. And you can, of course, utilize it. Don't just take what is there. Change it around and be able to utilize it in your presentation. In fact, I realized today that, we have our chairperson here, Roshni, and I don't think she has ever given a Friday khutbah. And I'm thinking of asking her to do one. So, you have, right. Oh, she has got it. Maybe I was away when she did that. But, we have women who are giving khutbahs. Farida gives it in New Grant. And we have had women who have been given Friday Jummah khutbah. The first Jummah khutbah that was given in the world was done by an Ahmadi and was promoted on BBC. And later on, she also did an Eid khutbah. That was Mrs. Dr. Anisa Ahmad, who is an oncologist now. So you have all of these things. Again, if I ask AI, it said, who wrote Islam Se Na Bhago? S-A-Y. N-A-B-A. Double A you can put. So you see Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, and it gives you, so all of these things. You can ask questions, and you can even ask it, it gives you a video, Islam Sin Abago Rahi Wadai Hai, and you can have the song, most of these are Qadianis. So it is important for our singers to sing and put that. If you need the Anjuman assistance, as I said this morning, we need people, not only the executive has to do anything. You have a job to do, you can do it. The executive will help you to put it on our websites and so on. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are on TikTok, and our young people have already set up all of these things, and we just want the content, and you can do that. So I'm appealing to the young people, let's come forward and offer you, as they have done in the video today. You see how, I think that was an excellent presentation. AI produced the material, and you produced the video. So the anything you want to ask, and you want AI to ask? Yeah. Yeah.
When Ahmadi does something, I mean, the first will go for an hour, and 5 minutes. No way
well,
don't get that the Ahmadiyya spirit or essence.
A very good question, and we have a very good answer for that. First of all, you must realize that when you're using algorithms, you are dealing with data sets, and there are different layers and different levels. And what happens is AI will tend to pick from that which is most available. So if you have two sections of the Ahmadiyya movement, if the Qadianis have more information in Lahore, it will pick theirs, because that is more readily available, or we may have none or less at all. Now, you will find if you ask AI to produce a khutbah on jihad, it will give you the Ahmadiyya point of view, that jihad is not violence thing. It won't tell you that it is Ahmadi point of view, but it will give you that approach, because that has become now common by Sunnis as well as, and it corrects that view that Islam is not terrorism. So it depends on what you put. So what we have to do is put content out there. The more content we put, AI will be able to pull that content. That's what I mentioned in my presentation. We have to have intelligent interpretation of Islam and splatter the internet with it, so that AI will pull that information. So we have a very important task. Well, I mean, I may not live so, but I want the young people to realize that you can take this information, put it on the internet, we'll give it to you, and flood the internet with our literature, information, interpretation, translation of the Quran or so, and you will find that if you look at most articles on Islam and references given from the Quran, they don't pull from Maulana Muhammad. They pull from more other sources because those Yusuf Ali and so many other Alis and so on that they give, but not Muhammad Ali. Because artificial intelligence has become sort of trained to pick non-Ahmadi things on, as you say, mainstream. So our task is there. As I said, this is just an introduction, but I want you to understand what we are faced with. And it requires time, it requires human resource, it requires funding to do all of these things. And we are hoping that we can, generate this from our members. We have small amount of people, but they have big hearts, small pockets, but certainly, very generous in whatever they give for the cause of Islam. Yes?
I think you answered my question. I was going to ask, can we use artificial intelligence to create peace in the world?
Yes, as I said, artificial intelligence is basically, a search engine. And to create peace, you need to have that formula of peace outside there. In fact, if you do ask artificial intelligence to create a sermon on peace, it will give you that as well. If you ask it what is Islam, it will tell you that Islam is a religion of peace. It won't tell you Islam is not a religion of terrorism and so on. It will give you these, because some of the information about Islam, or much of the information about Islam, and Qadianis do a lot of this, has already been put there. So it will pull that information. Now, when it comes, and this is where what we call, as Faiz pointed out, what we call or incorrectly call artificial intelligence cannot provide emotions in people, cannot provide them to commit themselves. It can't make them make a promise or so. It can give them information that they want and that they want to use and however they want to use it. And I think somebody mentioned this point, that you have to have the human instinct. It's like Farida and them going to the Ho Choi home. Now you can tell those children, they're sort of handicapped children, a lot of things they wouldn't understand. But you come and you just touch them, and they, what they call patterning, they play with them, and they can communicate with them through touch, through feeling, through approach. We can communicate with each other by means of our charisma, by our kindness. As I said, they have been doing this for years, and they have influenced so many people in the Gasparilla area and outside of it, as the young men said. Anywhere they go, they know people, know these two people. So that is, they didn't do it by artificial intelligence, machine. They did it by human interaction. So yes, that's why when we say we believe in Allah and Muhammad, Muhammad is not alive, but his personality still influences us. I've never met him. I don't know what he looks like, but his personality influences me. And similarly, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad has said, if you look at Ram, you look at Krishna, Jesus Christ, Moses, why do thousands of millions of people follow these people? They are no longer there. They are legends, they're so on, but there's still a love that they had because they were people who were sent by God. Now, people may have distorted their teachings or so, but the love for these people, these personalities, is still there because they were people appointed by God. So yes, there will be people who hate Mirza Ghulam Ahmad today. Tomorrow they will, love them. There's a poem in Urdu that says, today you stone your leaders, your religious leaders who are guiding you. Tomorrow you'll take that same tomb, build a tomb, and worship the tomb. So while they are alive, you stone them. When they are dead, you take those stones, cover their body, and then you worship them. So that has been done with Abu Hanifa and all of these. So yes, you still need the human touch. We are human beings, and we have to develop ourselves morally and spiritually. The machines cannot do that for us, but they can guide us and help us and, broaden the scope of people who are influenced.
Brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum. I think the presentation was very good today. I just have one question. Can people become addicted to artificial intelligence? And what advice would you give for people who might be tempted to overuse or misuse artificial intelligence? Can people become too addicted to artificial intelligence?
It's a very good question asked by a young person, and yes, there's a verse of the Quran that deals with this, very simple, everyone knows it. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. O Allah, give us the best of the present environment, and give us the best of what is beyond, what comes later on, and protect us or help us to manage or risk manage the wakina azab an-nar, the azab an-nar. And azab an-nar, the word azab comes from Arabic, which means sweet water, something that is attractive. And nar means that's something which is, water and fire don't go together. But it deals with the subject of the addiction of your passions. People are passionate on certain issues, and they can be passionate for something which is right and something which is wrong. So that prayer is really realizing that I need outside power. I have my internal power, but I need strength outside. Just as you breathe, you have air in your lungs, but you need the air outside as well. If the air is polluted, it will affect you. You'll need pure oxygen to breathe sometimes. You go higher, you need to carry oxygen with you. You need some kind of outside assistance. And this is where religion teaches us there's the power of Allah. There's the power of God to guide us and prevent us. I've used this in interpretation of some verses of the Quran. Suppose, for example, the Quran tells us, "Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq min sharri ma khalaq." Seek refuge in Allah from the break of the dawn, from the evil of what He has created. Now, the Quran is not saying Allah created evil. It says from the evil of what He has created. He's created good, but there can be evil. For example, if a mother is going to give her child some milk, and she didn't know that a fly went into the milk and contaminated it, it's contaminated, and she gives the child, it can affect the child with vomit or so. But sometimes the power of Allah comes in, and she trips and falls, and the glass is broken, the milk is spilled. She has to go and get another one now. In that case, Allah is protecting us. So this is where we always need to be under the protection of Allah. And the Quran teaches us the concept of what is known as taqwa. And taqwa basically is what we call risk management. You minimize the risk. Yes, you'll be influenced by evil, sometimes over-influenced by it, but you minimize that risk by interaction with people, by talking to other people, by discussion, in so many ways. Opportunities are there, resources are there for us to do that. You can't just say, well, I read AI and it's influencing me and I can't help it. No, resources are available, parents, teachers, and others and so on. So you have to be able to make use of the resources that are there to help you to overcome your addiction or your depression or whatever it is you're bothered with. Those who are willing to help you, but you also have to be willing to seek that help as well.
Any more questions? I have a question, and I whispered it. So it's something like Google, right? You can ask Google anything. So you can type it, yeah? Somewhat.
No, Google will not respond by means of, you can't ask Google to draw a picture for you.
Okay, understood.
If you ask AI to draw a picture of a mosque or a dog or a cat or a
They'll
draw it for you. Change the color.
Understood.
Put a window here. Put 10 windows in the house.
Okay, understood. All right. Thank you. So, any more questions?
I just wanted to say something. And I think we have a problem here. See this AI and this, talk about addiction. I have family who go out to visit and take the children, you see the children, they're in a room with a computer, the phone, or the tablet, whatever it is, you don't see them. And if you have that conversation, they look in the floor. Problem is there already. Parents have to get on top of some people in the computer or artificial intelligence has become the core, everything for them. Nothing else exists.
I was speaking with a young man yesterday. His mother lived about 2 houses from here. And he mentioned to me my discussion on computers and so on. I never met a religious leader who was so versed in so much of technology. He was very happy to be conversing with me. He told me I'm a specialist in AI law. He's an AI legal attorney. And he travels all over the world advising governments on the laws of AI and what laws to pass and so on, United Nations and so on. I asked him to come here today, but unfortunately he had another engagement. But we promised to communicate with each other. But one of the points he pointed out to me, and I agreed with him, is that we always have a fear for some reason or the other of technology or children or so. I remember when I was small, parents used to say, I don't know what these young children are doing today, who will carry on the masjid and who will do this, that, and they're not taking part, they're not coming, and they were doing all the work. They passed away and we stepped forward. Allah has a way of continuing this religion. I'm sure when you were young, as some of us were young, you were reading comics, you were doing a lot of things, playing sports, parents calling you to do this, that, and the other, and they can't find you. They're bawling and shouting, come here and do this, and we were all, in some cases, lackadaisical, and they had a fear that how my child growing up, and that we did grow up to be responsible. I have noticed in some families, you find that young people, when they're teenagers, the parents are sent to clean the bathroom, sweep the house, wash somewhere. It's a big problem. And then next thing you see, they become parents, and they're doing it for their children, So the thing about it is this, that we must not have that fear, because we induce that fear in children. We have to embrace the children and realize this is the way in which they're learning. They're not learning through slate and a copybook like long time when we had to use those things, pen and pencil and so on, they hardly use. Someone was telling me that when they went to write some exam, I don't know if it is SE or one of those exams, that they were told not to write in cursive or what you call script, or scribble or so, to write in block letters. And the reason for that, because the examiner couldn't understand script. It's not the children, the examiner couldn't read what the children were writing because they were joining the letter. Every child joined it in a different way. You put F this way and S that. They couldn't figure it out, so they tell them to write it. And in Canada and some of these places, they teach you that this is the way in which you have to write in block letters, because the people cannot understand otherwise. You have so many different communities, Hindus, Sikhs, Africans and Arabs and so on. So the thing is this, that we do see our children doing things, but we must not be afraid that they are not learning. We just have to be there, as Farida asked the question, as exemplars for them. There, we have to show them a pattern of love and affection and so on, and not just move them up and say, put down that thing, boy, and listen to what I tell you. Maybe long ago parents could tell you that, but nowadays you have to take it. So you have to solve those problems, and you don't need artificial intelligence to do that. You have to use your own intelligence, Allah's intelligence, the gifts that He has given you as a parent to be able to communicate with your children. You as an individual, look at the grace with which you are managing your affliction for so many years. That is an example of your children. So don't think they are not learning. Don't think they are not learning. They're not only learning by seeing the phone, they are learning by seeing you as well and how you manage your life.
Okay, thank you very much. That was indeed a very, very informative session. Won't you not agree? Yes, I think so. Thank you very much, Moana. We just have maybe just 2 or 3 items on the program again. Before one of the items would be taking of the bayat. If anyone is interested, we'll have that session. But before we have taking of the bayat, I would like to invite our very willing Sister Nazina to sing a song of Islam for us.
Assalamu alaikum. Now I'm going to use AI. I can't tell you how many Songs of Islam books I gave away. So then I decided to get it downloaded on my phone so I could always have it whenever I go out. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Islam se na bhago, rahe hudayi hai, ei sone walo jago, shamshu zuha yahi hai, shamshu zuha yahi hai. इस्लाम से न भागो, राहे हुदाई है, ऐ सोने वालों जागो, शम्शो दुहा यही है, शम्शो दुहा यही है। मुझको कसम खुदा की, जिसने मुझे बनाया, अब आसमां के नीचे दीने खुदा यही है, बातिन सियाह है जिनके, इस दी से है वो मुनकिर, पर ए अंधेरे वालों, दिल का दिया यही है, दिल का दिया यही है। इस्लाम से न भागो, राहे हुदा यही है, ऐ सोने वालों जागो, शम्शो दुहा यही है, शम्शो दुहा यही है। दुनिया की सब दुकानें है हमने देखी बाली, आखिर हुआ ये साबित, दारो शिफा यही है, सब कुछ खो गए हैं, जितने थे बाग पहले, हर समत मैंने देखा, बुसता हरा यही है, बुसता हरा यही है। इस्लाम से न भागो, राहे हुदा यही है, ऐ सोने वालों जागो, शम्शो दुहा यही है, शम्शो दुहा यही है। वो पेशवा हमारा, जिससे है नूर सारा, नाम उसका है मोहम्मद, दिलबर मेरा यही है, उस यार पर फिदा हूँ, उसका ही मैं हुआ हूँ, वो है मैं चीज़ क्या हूँ, बस फैसला यही है, बस फैसला यही है। इस्लाम से न भागो, राहे हुदा यही है, ऐ सोने वालों जागो, शम्शो ज़ुहा यही शम्शु ज़ुहा यही है, सब हमने उसे पाया, शाहिद है तू खुदाया, वो जिसने हक दिखाया, वो महल का यही है, दिल में यही है हरदम, तेरा सहीफ़ा चूमूं, कुरआन के गिर्द घूमूं, काबा मेरा यही है, काबा मेरा यही है, इस्लाम से न भागो, राहे खुदा यही है, ऐ सोने वालों जागो, शम्शु ज़ुहा यही है, शम्शु ज़ुहा यही है. I'll just read the last verse of this song. Every moment, this is a thought in my heart, that I should kiss thy scripture and go round and round the Quran, because this is my Kaaba, the pivot of my life. Amen.
Thank you very much, Sister Nazina. Such a melodious voice. All right, so it's time for the taking of the bayat, which is a pledge towards the propagation of Islam. Would there be anybody who is interested in taking the bayat this year? Okay, so if there's no one who's interested, I will just like to thank everyone, and the president did a wonderful job this morning, thanking everyone who participated in making today's event a success. The events committee, the maintenance committee, the persons who worked tirelessly under the scenes to make Ahmadiyya House usable for us today. We'd also like to thank those who assisted and who would have contributed in purchasing the smart TV that we have here today. And thank you all for making the sacrifice to come today and spend this day with us. We'll also like some assistance afterwards for who are here and is able to help pack up the chairs, etc. So to make that, make it a little bit easier for us in cleaning up. And if you didn't sign the register, I believe it's somewhere around, you all can make sure and sign that before you leave. And there's some food remaining. If anyone is interested, you all can take, it's takeaway. It's takeaway? Yes, you can take away. Line up and we'll have, you'll get some food to take home. All right, and I would like to thank you all very much for making my job very easy today. It was indeed my pleasure. I would like to invite now Imam and Isha to give us the closing dua.
Let us raise our hand in prayer. Dua. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. Almighty Allah, we thank you for another beautiful day in your beautiful creation. And Almighty Allah, we thank you for all the favors and mercies and blessings that you have given to all of us. Almighty Allah, we pray for all those who are not experiencing the best of health, Almighty Allah. We ask that the angels of healing come down on us all, Almighty Allah. Give us peace of mind, Almighty Allah, and give us healing, Almighty Allah. Almighty Allah, make a special dua, Almighty Allah, on behalf of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman Isha'at Islam of Trinidad and Tobago, Almighty Allah. We pray for guidance, Almighty Allah. We pray for knowledge, Almighty Allah. We pray for understanding, Almighty Allah. And we pray especially for the propagation of the truth, Almighty Allah, towards the world. Give us the strength, Almighty Allah. Give us the know-how, Almighty Allah. Almighty Allah, we also remember all those who have gone to the great beyond. Our loved ones, our forefathers, those beautiful souls that grace us, Almighty Allah. We pray for them, Almighty Allah. We pray, Almighty Allah, that you keep them with the righteous. And when you decide to take us, Almighty Allah, let us be well pleasing to you, Almighty Allah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Our Lord, grant us good in this world and grant us good in the hereafter and save us from the chastisement of the fire. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Please remember that we have a Chinese queue on the 3rd of February, it's a Saturday, and tickets are available from Nariman, and if you want to make any donation, you can contact either her or the president of the Anjuman, president of the Jamaat, the Secretary Baksh. So we're asking you to support this venture, and we really appreciate your assistance.
All right, no problem.
Let me just sit. And to the newly appointed executive, we'd like to have an executive photo in front, so if you can make yourself available. Thank you. So just another call for all newly appointed executive members. If you all can come in front to take a photo. Also, some of the water bottles and the coffee cups on the ground. If you all can render some assistance in picking it up. And with the driver of PCU 4264, it's a red vehicle, you are blocking someone.